Hey. Thought I'd get on here this morning and share a message by way of a dream that I had last night. It was very vivid. It was very clear in terms of the message, and I think that we all need to hear what thus saith the Lord. So my mom and I had taken a trip, and this was in the dream. We had gone to a local market. The market was huge, and there was a flurry of people, trying to get in. It just seems like it was like almost I could feel like the panic um, in the atmosphere, and people were trying to get in, and they were rushing, to this, that, and the other. And it was weird because when I could see certain things in a certain place in the dream, but by the time I got to that particular item, it had moved. And it kept happening throughout the dream. So my mom went one way and I went another. And I was like, I'm going to get me some greens and I'm going to get me some squash and those things that I know that I love to cook and eat. And when I got to that area where those items were, and it was really strange too in the dream. Well, not so much strange because I understand one that I dream prophetically. I hear and I see prophetically, and therefore I speak prophetically. But I would see the item and it looked so beautiful. Like I remember seeing like a bunch of collard greens and they were absolutely beautiful. But when I got up close to them and I picked them up, it was almost like they wilted in my hand. And so I remember obviously putting them back. And so all those things that I had anticipated going to the market to get, I didn't leave with any of those things. So finally, my mom and I, we met back up at some point, and my mom she said, I think you better get some eggs. And I said, okay. And she said, for the boys, and those are my nephews. And I said, yeah, I probably should. I said, I have some, but I'll get some more. So we went to the cooler where the eggs were. And on the very bottom, we only eat Eggland's Best. That's just my preference of eggs. Other eggs don't taste right to me. But anyway, I digress. So on the very bottom shelf, there was one container. It was supposed to be an 18 count of eggs. And I opened the container. There were several that were broken, and then there were also several that were missing. And I looked and I was like, how could I see them being broken, but where did the rest of the eggs go? And so I said, well, maybe people were kind of making their own containers and mixing and matching. So just above that container on the shelf, there appeared to be a flat of eggs. But when I pulled the flat out, checking for the eggs to ensure that they were not broken, when I pulled the egg out, it was like a medicine bottle. So the top of the egg looked like an egg, but then underneath it looked like a medicine bottle. And I looked at my mom and I was like, ooh, I don't know what this is. So I politely slid the flat back in and I closed the refrigerator. And that was the end of the dream for the most part. But the revelation that the Lord gave me in that regard is, people, there are some challenging times before us. There is going to be a famine. We have been we've been preparing. In fact, COVID was our dress rehearsal, if you will. Remember, there was a shortage of food, and there was a shortage of materials and this, that, and the other. That is coming again, but it's going to be 10 times worse than it was for COVID. So if your mindset did not shift during COVID to store and to prepare, and I remember during COVID, I had buckets of rice and I had buckets of flour and sugar, and I have dried beans and I had dried milk. I've learned to can, things that I know that I eat. My husband is very picky, but nonetheless, things we won't be hungry. We started growing our garden, didn't grow anything for the fall, but there's something that's coming up out there So prayerfully our greens will come through, especially after the rain this week. But I say all that to say, y'all, preparation is imperative. Like, it's not an option at this point. I know y'all have you've heard a lot of people, talking about this very subject, but I cannot express to you the urgency that I felt in my spirit this morning when I got up. In fact, my spirit was grieved, and I'm getting emotional because I can feel what is to come in my spirit. It's going to be rough. Like, this whole SNAP benefits type thing and all this panic buying. And I saw pictures yesterday of grocery store shelves with caution tape across them, and so many of them empty, and this, that, and the third, because these people are going out afraid because their cards are going to be turned off, I guess, tonight at midnight. I don't know. But if you're going to go and buy all of this food, I heard a lady the other day talking about she had $700 to spend and she was going to all these different stores. So when you buy all of this stuff, things do not preserve the way that they used to. So if you're going to try even freezing things, it doesn't last. So there has to be an alternative, people. We've got to think differently. And we've got to ask Holy Spirit for divine insight in how to navigate this hard season that's coming upon us. So yes, I am raising my voice. Yes, I am expressing my passion. Yes, I am expressing the urgency, because that is the way that it has been impressed upon